back in the big leagues and over the moon.
Welcome to the landing strip with Nick Lynham and Mikey Garcia, presented by From Financial.
Welcome back to the landing strip, presented by From Financial. As the old saying goes, nothing feels better than beating the Leafs. Am I right? Oh, these Winnipeg Jets find a whole new way to keep this tank alive. Over on Twitch, Choices TK says, biblical, epic, catastrophic, legendary, cataclysmic, disastrous. Pick your adjective, and that loss was it. This is truly incredible. Incredible. The Winnipeg Jets finally score some goals. 5 of them, in fact. At one point, they're leading this game 4-1. And it ends 6-5 in regulation for the Toronto Maple Leafs, marking 8 straight wins. Or 8 straight losses, sorry. 8 straight wins for the tanking fans. 8 straight losses for the Winnipeg Jets. How are we feeling, folks? Are we here for some therapy tonight? What is the plan on the landing strip? Let's work through this. Mikey, how are you doing?
The chat is calling for it. There's this is therapy night. We're going to try to make everybody feel better, and there is a silver lining in these times of trouble. So we're going to hit it now. It's the Tank Commander Award time.
Thinking about tomorrow, don't stop. It'll soon be here.
The tank rolls on. The Winnipeg Jets continue to find new, interesting, and incredible ways to lose games in regulation too. That is some impressive work. You know, we talk about the loser point and fake parity in the NHL. The Jets are making sure they are not having any of that.
They are making sure that they remain in the NHL history books, and you got to respect it. Neil DeBeck says, I feel great. I don't know about you guys. I feel wonderful. It is honestly hilarious at this point. You have to laugh. We still have over half a season to go. You got to find the comedy in just how bad this was. As May says, I feel amazing. I was worried in the first half. But they find a whole new way to embarrass themselves. Let's get into the Tank Award. It's becoming a regular thing here with all these losses piling up.
Yep.
Is there a play in this game, a player, a move, a coaching decision? What gets the Tank Award for the Winnipeg Jets coming into this game or coming out of this game?
You know, I had a feeling that a lot of the chat is going to be focusing on, maybe the guy between the pipes for their Tank Award tonight. So I wanted to go a different way, but also still in the same kind of vein. I saw some calls during the game for Scott Arniel to replace Eric Comrie with Connor Hellebuck, thinking the game was still in reach, trying to get some points out of this one, keeping the Jets in it. And so I'm going to say my Tank Award tonight goes to Scott Arniel for understanding that this is a lost season. You do not need to put Connor Hellebuck in for this game. I don't care if it was a 1-goal, 4-goal. It didn't matter at any spot. You leave him on the bench. He needs to rest. There's no point in putting him in for this one. And that I feel like that really helped us out tonight to keep this ethical tank moving. So, Scotty Arniel, you're going to wear the helmet for me.
Yeah, I see over on Twitch, Kraken413 says the Comrie giveaway. I see Frosty Winnipeg gives the Tank Award to Arniel for keeping comms in.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say it. I got to give it to comms. You got to get a stop in there somewhere. Talk about the Winnipeg Jets season here. They finally break through and score some goals. And it's on the back half of a back-to-back with Eric Comrie in net, who was our loyal tank commander on this night.
Yep.
Um, as soon as it was 4-3, I thought we were losing this one. And then Mark Scheifele comes up big again. He certainly does love playing in Toronto. The highest points per game of any active player against the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yep.
And it was a pretty interesting night where you see a bit of a chess match between Austin Matthews and Mark Scheifele on this one. But our tank commander has to be Eric Comrie. Neil DeBeck calls Comrie the commander. Matt Rothman calls tank award for, of course, is Eric Comrie. Anything around the Jets goaltending today? Caitlin Doucette says Eric Comrie with a legendary effort to save the tank, but honorable mention to Scott O'Neill for running him into the ground by playing him for 10 straight games earlier this season.
Absolutely, yep.
So it sounds like our chat is largely in agreement on the tank award being split in some form or fashion between Scott O'Neill and Eric Comrie. I will ask you, do you think, and Fat Tony 202 says, Scott O'Neill and Eric Comrie, men of the people, they knew the assignment.
That's right.
Let's start there. At what point would you have thought of going to Connor Hellebuck out of desperation to try and win that hockey game?
Now, if this was a year ago and the Jets were the President's Trophy race going on, first place team, yeah, there's probably a couple spots you could have turned to Hellebuck. A couple of those goals that Comrie wants back. There's a couple of those that were just bad goals tonight. It happens. And it cost the Jets the game really at the end of the day. So yeah, there's a couple spots you definitely could have turned to Hellebuck if you were really trying to chase this one out. But I mean, why? This is not the year to be doing that. If Hellebuck is sitting for a game, let him sit. Let him rest. This is his scheduled night off. He's played a million games in a row coming into tonight. There was no need for it. I don't care what the score is. I think we all kind of understand where the Jets are at, and I think Scott O'Neill kind of gets it too. There's no point risking your starter, your Hart Trophy winner, your Vezina winner, the best player on your team in a game that truly, I'm sorry, at the end of the day means absolutely nothing to the team, to the organization. They're not making the playoffs. This is not a divisional game. There's no real rivalry there. Mark Scheifele was maybe seeing red a little bit. He saw a maple leaf on a jersey and kind of lost his shit because he wasn't going to the Olympics. So he took out, I think, his Team Canada frustration on the Leafs today. So that was nice. But outside of that, and the top line doing what the top line does, there's no point I would have gone to Connor Hellebuck. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, him coming off that knee procedure, he started 9 or 10 in a row.
10.
And the reality of this season, this is who the Winnipeg Jets are. If they win that game, it means nothing. Instead, we supplement ourselves further and further into the bottom. We did see some movement coming into this game. Nino Niederreiter wears a healthy scratch. Jay Rosehill is losing his mind on Twitter for some reason that Luke Shen wore a healthy scratch against the Toronto Maple Leafs. We see Cole Koepke come back in. What do you think of Arniel using the healthy scratch weapon with Nino Niederreiter today? And what did you see out of the Jets forward group?
Yeah, that one was real interesting. Coaches have a strange habit, and it's not just Scott Arniel. You see it with a lot of head coaches, but they have a strange habit of taking out their frustrations on the group at large, on players that kind of make you scratch your head. Nino maybe hasn't been at his peak, at his best the last little bit, but if he's wearing the goat horns, that one is a little bit weird to me. They asked Scotty about it in the post game. His response was that, yeah, he was healthy, but it's a maintenance day with how tight the schedule is right now. So just coach speak, right? Not really giving us too much about the actual decision on what went into it there. Real surprised that, yeah, he was the one to come sit out for Koepke to come in. I like Koepke. I think he's fine in a fourth line role. He brings a lot of energy, which is great. But yeah, Nino wearing the goat horns for it was real confusing to me.
Yeah, Colin Hall seems to agree with you, saying watching the scratch as a tool is good. Taking it out on Nino makes no fucking sense. I do think at some point that tool was going to be used on a veteran first that will understand it and handle it well. And Nino is a pretty easy pick there, given what we know about the guy. it does send a message to the veterans in the room. At the end of the day, it's going to solve nothing about the Winnipeg Jets' problems.
Yeah.
But we see him pull out that tool today. We see the team respond early on, though early in that first period, there's a couple big blow-ups that go off some posts that kind of keep them in that game and allow them to strike first. But we do see them get on the board first. We see them climb up with a 4-1 lead. Mark Scheifele, he had a rough first game after coming out of that Hockey Canada announcement. I thought Mark Scheifele was one of the best players on the ice in this one. 2 goals, an assist. This was clearly his FU moment to Hockey Canada. What'd you think of Mark Scheifele's game? I know that's something we're talking about. That's something we're watching here as things go. Looked very frustrated as the final horn went. What do we think of Mark Scheifele and the top group tonight?
Yeah, the Scheifele bounce back was good. The Jets need that if they actually think they're going to be competitive in games, even though we kind of don't really see that happening. So, but for Scheifele's just kind of overall, play and how the rest of the season's going to go. That's the response that you would want to see from him. We're hoping it's not a thing where he's going to kind of go off the rest of the season and kind of be in a lull, be in a bit of a haze because he's upset about it. I'd much rather if focus that into anger, keep on this crazy 100+ point pace. There's not really much else going positive for the Jets at the moment, so at least they'll have something to look forward to each game. You can try to watch the Scheifele Connor pace, but it's like you said, he's the highest active opponent for the Leafs in terms of points per game at Scotiabank Place. So it's a building he really likes being in, that he performs well in. And I honestly do think there's maybe a little subconsciously seeing red of a Maple Leaf jersey across from him and some built up anger.
Yeah, Grant Bancroft over on Twitch says Scheif almost willed this disaster to OT. Respect. He certainly did. And on a night when the Leafs get Austin Matthews back off the IR, he ends up being the difference as we see the 2 1Cs kind of go toe-to-toe here. Austin Matthews with 3 goals and an assist. Mark Scheifele with 2 goals and an assist. Mike Rolling 13 says 55 was dominant. And James Eistra said 55, player of the team tonight. Who cares about Team Canada? Their loss. We did see Bo Horvat go down today. We'll see where that kind of goes. But I did think this was a really good response from Mark Scheifele. You know who I think this was a tough night from around the Olympic conversation?
Yep.
Josh Morrissey.
Yeah.
So we saw the top 4 in Winnipeg on D get shuffled. We see Neil Pionk play with Josh Morrissey. We see Dylan DeMello with Dylan Sandberg and Colin Miller and Logan Stanley. What'd you see from the back end of the Winnipeg Jets tonight?
Yeah, the start, especially from Morrissey, was exceptionally bad. It doesn't happen often. He's generally one of the most consistent players, game to game, shift to shift. But it was a noticeably bad start from Josh Morrissey, and it's kind of interesting that the Jets had a couple posts, had a crossbar, helped them out early on. They somehow came out with a lead, even though they didn't have Morrissey kind of with his fastball to start. So normally on a night where you say those things, you'd go, wow, that's a win for the Jets. You'd be expecting that at the end of it for things kind of breaking their way. We've talked about how we kind of like to see the Jets kind of play with the pairings a little bit in a game that they're chasing, especially, put Pionk up there with Morrissey, try to get some extra offense out of it if you can. It's those are the good things kind of that happen there. But yeah, Morrissey with an off night and, the Jets giving up 6 against is, probably not, those are related things, right? Morrissey isn't going, the defense overall is just you're gonna see those big holes. So, optional kind of rough night for Morrissey. Any other year you chalk it up to and you kind of like move on and put it away. It's more amplified right now with how bad things have been going lately in terms of results.
Yeah, definitely. I thought this was a bit of a tough night for Josh Morrissey. An even tougher night for the guy beside him. Takes that horrific penalty that leads to the power play where they bring it within 1 right before the end of the second. The thing with that pair, right, is we know that Neil's very chaotic. And as much as that's going to be that pair that could probably drive the offense for you when you look at this back end. And I think all these switches on D even continue to show you how limited the options are for defense in Winnipeg right now.
Yep.
But I thought this was a night where you saw the deficiencies when those two play together. When the gaps get a little big, those lanes get wider, and they're easy to come down on the other way. We see a couple big breakdowns that lead to some big opportunities, a couple that lead to some goals against by that pair, and that's your top pair on this night. I actually thought this was, compared to what we've seen, one of DeMello's better nights. He gets on the board with that clapper, but I thought there was less chaos in his game than we've kind of seen, and didn't mind the third pair on this night. Colin Miller
Yeah.
might have had what I thought was his best game of the season, not that he's played very much.
Yep, we've we've talked about how they just, for whatever reason, don't trust Miller to play consistent games, but it's kind of funny. I had to keep double checking a few times to make sure that like the third pairing was still there, because they just weren't super noticeable, but in a good way. Like it wasn't the kind of chaos that we've seen out of a Stanley Shen or a Stanley Fleury or whatever kind of mix you want to put out there. This was one of the just kind of quieter, steadier games out of that third pairing. And again, I don't think it's any coincidence that Stanley and Miller kind of are the ones to give you that. I think they would work fairly well as a sheltered pairing, playing third minutes if you just let Miller get a run of games to kind of get comfortable again, because we've seen it work. And I do think their games complement each other in a decent way, that that just the chaos that the other two guys bring for Stanley isn't helpful on a guy who already has problems identifying where the danger is and where the problem on the ice is. So if you can kind of limit that a little bit with a kind of quieter presence in Colin Miller, I think it helps Stanley, it helps the team. It's a better move.
Yeah, we'll see where that defensive shift continues to go. Don't think it was a bad thing to see DeMello get the bump down. It does lead to some deficiencies on the top pair, but I think we're going to have those regardless.
Yeah.
And it further talks about or shows what's going on with the D talent in Winnipeg. You know who was not bad again today, actually?
Who's that?
The Jonathan Taves group.
Hey, yeah.
The Taves, Iafallo, Cole Perfetti line get on the board.
They were your second line tonight.
They were your second line tonight. There you go.
The plan is coming together. Perfetti and Taves, just like they said, just like they drew it up.
No, but I'll say this. This is where I keep thinking I get this right. This was a game they finished second line in minutes at 5-on-5.
Yep.
They win those minutes. And this was a night where we've been talking a lot about Morgan Barron and Adam Lowry having a strong connection of late, seeing them do some good things. I thought this was a night where that group struggled compared to what we've been watching. So the fact that you see those minutes fall in line there, again, I think that's a credit to Scotty Arneal for knowing what he's doing in the middle of the game. But I did think the Lowry and Barron group, Barron specifically, the puck was bobbling on him today. There was a couple turnovers. I didn't like that game from that group. But Jonathan Taves, Alex Iafallo, and Cole Perfetti might have found something here around the corner. Has this been the best stretch from the middle six, and we're still losing games?
Yes, this has absolutely been the best stretch from the middle six. It's been, probably just their best kind of stretch of games if you include kind of going back the last three here in general. So it is, but they're still finding ways to lose games. They're still having the collapses, the brain farts, the small mistakes that turn into the big mistake that end up in the back of the net. It almost feels like more work to lose these games than it would be to win them at certain parts. I actually felt bad at the end of this one for the Jets, just because I kind of went, man, it's almost unbelievable how they've been able to lose games lately. I know the NHL record losses is still quite a ways away, but man, if this is the pace, you never know.
So on this point, Jonathan Taves comes out of the break, and that's now 3 points in 4 games out of the break.
Yep.
We've seen a bit of jump from this group of Iafallo, Perfetti, Taves since it went to him in that third period a couple games ago. Jesse Clausen had come into the show early and raised an interesting point I wanted to find a way towards here, saying, gotta run, Nick, but a quick thought. Of the 9 oldest teams in the league, the Avs are the only one meeting preseason expectations. Condensed Olympic schedule is grueling, and adds to that, the Jets are the oldest team by an average of 0.9 years. It's going to get uglier. What do you think about that and where this second half schedule is going to go? Seeing what we've seen from a guy like Taves out of the break, is that what we should expect down the stretch here?
Well, the thing that's kind of working in his favor is we've got, 5 weeks until the Olympics break-ish?
About that, yeah.
And then he's got a few weeks off, right? So you've got that second break. So the games are going to be more condensed still coming out of it, right? Because they're still squeezing everything in. But he'll have that, extended break in the middle there. It's interesting to see. I don't expect this to keep up, this type of pace for the rest of the season. I think, he'll probably start to get a little bit worn down right before the Olympic break happens. He may get a little bit again of a boost coming out of it, but then it's going to get real heavy, real hard at that point. Somebody in the chat earlier on kind of pointed out how, a little ironic it is that Scott Arniel pointed out a maintenance day, quote unquote, for Nito Niederreiter, but the, 37-year-old, no maintenance day we're worried about, no load management, get him in there every game. So it's interesting to see what they're going to do going forward if this level of play is able to keep up. I don't think it's going to, but you may get this boost one more time coming out of that Olympic break.
Yeah, I do think it's interesting when you do look at it that way, because we know, and I mean, it feels like we're doing this show every day lately. The schedule definitely would be tougher on a group like that. We know there's a bunch of home games in the second half as well. They've had a bit of on the road, so I do wonder how that all plays into it. I mean, they really are cooked regardless. But here's a question from Fat Tony 202 that I'm curious your thoughts on here as well. What is that 16 one-goal losses this season for the Jets? I wonder what the NHL record is. After having a ton of one-goal wins last year, there's been a ton of one-goal losses this season. In December, I think you saw it on the broadcast tonight, there's been 6 games where they've fallen behind by multiple goals in the first period. That plays into it when they don't have the firepower to come back. What do you think about the Jets in one-goal games this year?
They've gone from, and Scott Arniel talked about it in his post-game comments, they went from being one of the best teams in the National Hockey League at winning one-goal games to now being the worst in those one-goal games. I honestly, a lot of people may kind of look at it and go, oh, it's compete level, or oh, they're giving up, or I honestly don't think that's what it is. I think the big reason for the shift in it is the fact that, again, they don't have a roster right now that's currently built to really compete with the top teams in the NHL. They've got one, really good line that can put up some points, and that's it. Everybody else is having to play well above their station right now. You've got a second line that's not a second line, right? Like so by the time you get to the end of the game, these guys are fucking gassed. They're beat. They're mentally spent. They're fighting a battle that they're technically supposed to lose every time they're kind of getting matched up out there. So yeah, you're gonna have those moments late in games where you've got the brain fart, where you've got that little mistake that ends up in the back of the net. I think it's honestly a big part of it is they just don't have the talent to really kind of stay in it late. Plus, when you get to those end moments in games and in OT, a lot of it does come down to like an individual effort. A lot of times it is somebody with a, quote unquote hero moment, taking a puck, skating it down all the way themselves, finding some, ridiculous hole and finding the back of the net. So they don't have that right now. They don't have enough game breakers to really get out there and make those changes at the end of the game. And the guys they do have to put out there are just fucking beat up by the time they make it to that point that they just, I just don't think they've got the magic to get those one goal wins that they had.
No, I think you nailed it. I'm going to not add anything to that for you. And on the idea of one-goal games, it seems to be 24 might be the record according to Fat Tony 202, which if it is, they definitely have a chance at beating that. But let's move into the From Financial Face-Off. What was the big difference in this one? What cost the Winnipeg Jets a win in a game where they had a 4-1 lead? What decided the factor here? Let's move into the From Financial Face-Off, and then we will open up the phone lines if anyone would like to get some takes off tonight.
Let's hit it. Right on. I want to point out Fat Tony 202 over on Twitch. One of the things that also does come into this, right? Fat Tony 202 says it's also mostly luck in win losses in terms of 1-goal games. So yeah, there is that element of it too, right? You're going to be real good at it for a long time, get a bunch of bounces that go your way. Eventually, those things do kind of even out, and the Jets may be experiencing that after being one of the best teams for almost 2.5, 3 years at it.
Yeah, so let's move into the From Financial Face-Off. Mikey, what's yours on this night?
This is a tough one because I don't think, we've had a bunch of games where, the Jets were clearly the better team, clearly should be, going off. This game, while the Jets won and they were up and they had some leads and that they gave up, I honestly didn't really feel like they were absolutely in control for a big chunk of it. The lead never felt safe to me at any point. This one was a hard one because I didn't see, I don't think I saw a lot of the good that maybe other people did coming out of this one. So really, I think what cost them the game at the end of the day is just, again, they don't have the horses to stay in these games like this late. They didn't have it again today. The little mistakes cost them, and it ends up a 6-5 loss instead of what should have been maybe like a 4-2 or a 4-3 win.
I got to tie this in here with the From Financial Face-Off because I think it, when you look at it, it encompasses a lot of the overarching reasons why we are here where we are right now. Nicholas at night had commented a couple minutes ago saying, when Chevy became the Jets GM, LeBron James hadn't won an NBA championship. GTA 5 hadn't been released yet. A Harry Potter film was in theaters. The CPC had a majority government. And Osama bin Laden was still alive. So when he starts thinking about the world in that respect.
Wow.
And only one person's had the eyes on this thing. It's quite telling. But moving into the From Financial Face-Off, Neil DeBeck had said, the From Financial Face-Off, Comrie not getting the hook. Matthew Hyman has it as turnovers and less than stellar tending.
A lot of turnovers.
And hard to argue with either of those.
A lot of turnovers.
A lot of turnovers and a lot of bad looks from Eric Comrie, especially the last one that wins the Tank Award of the night. Cranberries From Financial Face-Off was a comedy of errors and Austin Matthews' best game of the season. Yeah, AM34 has not been the difference maker we once thought he was. Comes off the IR and decides to put on a superstar type night with a hat trick and assist. Talk about adding to the Winnipeg Jets' bad luck this year.
No doubt. Ready for the first caller?
Yeah, we'll go to the call.
Right on. Hi, caller. Thanks for holding. You're on the landing strip. What's your name and what would you like to talk about?
Hold on. Turn off the thing. What? Say that again. What's my name?
What's your name and what would you like to talk about?
Yeah, Diamond Dave.
Diamond Dave. Right on.
What's going on, Diamond Dave?
Hey, can you hear me there?
We can hear you. You're live.
Yeah. So, long-time listener, first-time caller from Los Angeles, California. Keep being great. Love the show. I'm going to present to you what I call the Chevy paradox, and this is the Chevy paradox. Chevy's going to keep the status quo, and as a result, the Jets are going to tank. The Jets then tank. They draft Gavin McKenna. You see where I'm going here? They draft the guy. Then what do? Is they develop Gavin McKenna, and then they develop Gavin McKenna into a trade request from the Manitoba Moose. And that, my friend, is the Chevy paradox.
We are heading that way with another, what would it be, the third or fourth first rounder in Cole Perfetti this summer. Yep. It would not be
and
stunning.
I can't hear a goddamn word you're saying, so I'm going to turn off my phone and listen on the air. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you. So we'll let people know there is a 10-second delay between the call and what is coming through the screen, so that might have played in there. But the Chevy paradox is quite a way to put it, and certainly a problem the Winnipeg Jets have had. Cole Perfetti is likely to be the third or fourth first rounder in the last 6 years to arrive at this part of the paradox. And that's another reason why if the Winnipeg Jets are awarded a first overall pick, we shouldn't have to worry about the Chevy paradox, and there should be a new set of eyes in Winnipeg.
Yep. That's it's painful how accurate that, potentially could be, especially with, again, you've had two prospects just recently point out how difficult the perception, even if it's not true, right? Even if you say everything that Lambert and Rutger were saying, even if they're absolutely not true, if the team or if the players have that perception, if the young players have that perception already, that's a bad look. That is not good. That we're a team where it was like, oh, yeah, we can't get anybody to want to come here. Getting people to want to come to Winnipeg is impossible. Yeah, because we're making it so uninhabitable. Like, what are we doing with that? It's crazy that's where, the young guys have kind of reached their conclusions. So, yeah, we can't have the Chevy paradox happen again. Thank you so much, Time and Dave, for that great term.
Yeah, and thanks for the call out of Los Angeles, California. That's cool. And Jordy Angus says the Chevy paradox sounds like a 1970s political thriller.
Ooh. Also might be my new band name.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. You mean you don't want to be doing this show for the next 7 years, arguing that Gavin McKenna should be playing more than $14.50 a night, like the old Nick Ehlers debates?
I can't wait for that. No, I'm legitimately excited to do that. Or I want to see Verhoff win AHL Defenseman of the Year, because that is the kiss of death in Winnipeg. That means you are absolutely going to be phased out.
You are cooked. Back to the From Financial Face-Off, though. Zero Ghost 8 is, can we trade this entire org for a new expansion team? Oh, God, don't get me excited. Colin Hall says, clearly the deciding factor today was the lack of consistency exhibited by Arniel. Scratching Nino, who's played most games this season, in your top 9. Consistency is important, guys. Yeah, an old shout to your pointing out of what is consistency.
Oh, boy.
From Scott Arniel.
We got to get that man a dictionary. You ready for the next call?
Yeah, let's jump on to the next call.
We've got our boy Voth on the line.
Oh, good.
Welcome on, Voth. You're live on the air.
Hey, buddy. Tough one for you tonight, I guess. Depends how you look at it. Good for the tank. But
great for the tank.
I know you talk about wanting your GM to be bold all the time. As a Leafs fan, I do want to present an alternative reality to you where your GM trades multiple firsts for the likes of Scott Lawton and Brandon Carlo, and just implore you to consider what bold means.
Hey, I'm very thankful my GM is not Brad Treliving. Don't worry.
Would you like to swap Chevy out for trade?
What's that?
Would you take a shovel day off for Brad Treliving swap right now?
You want me to be honest with you? I probably would, for the sole reason Brad Treliving would tank this org so bad that we might end up with multiple lottery picks and end up on the other side in a positive spot. The Chevy plan, I think, is taking us to a cliff that is unavoidable. So I'll take anything new at this point.
Cool. Well, hey, just be careful what you wish for. It could be worse. You could be the Leafs where you're going to finish like 18th, no first for until 2027. It could get uglier.
Hey, it could get very ugly for you guys. But I'm not about racing to the bottom. I'm looking for the next angle out here. And we did trade a second and a fourth for Luke Chen, as L. May points out to you in the chat.
Yeah, they should have played Shen tonight. I do like watching him. I like when he's on the other side of my team for sure.
Hey, he's a good comedy bit at this point. Life's about comedy sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, you have a good night. I can't really hear you on the phone too well, so you guys might want to check the audio for that.
Okay, sounds good. So that's 2 in a row, so definitely a problem.
Yeah. Later, guys.
Later. Back to some more from Financial Faceoffs. Scarborough 21s is need a backup goalie added to the other needs. 2C, top wing, and a top pairing right-handed D. And speaking of that list of laundry list of player types, the Toronto Maple Leafs were missing Willie Nylander and Chris Tanev tonight.
Yep.
And still pull that off. Let's just add that dagger to the Winnipeg Jets on this night.
Yeah, again, that's kind of one of the reasons why I didn't see this game so much as like, oh, what a heartbreak for the Jets who played so well, but, gave up some. And it just, Yeah, it felt like we can, if we had won this game, it felt like coming out of winning that Washington Capitals game where I just, don't feel too good about it yet. Let's maybe wait to see before we really pat ourselves on the back.
Yep. T. Will's from Financial Faceoff is they suck. We might need a T. Will rant tonight if he's still listening. The last one was good.
That's right.
Neil DeBeck's from Financial Faceoff is the turning point of this game was when in 2011 they hired Cheveldayoff. Kevin K's from Financial Faceoff is they finally scored, let their foot off the gas, and gave it right back against a terrible Leafs team. Ain't that the truth?
Yep.
The From Financial Faceoff from Zero Ghost 8 is current needs 1 goalie, a 2C, a top 6 winger, 5 bottom 6 players, a number 2 defenseman, a number 4 defenseman, and a third pair defenseman. Half a hockey team right there.
No big deal.
Jordy Angus is from Financial Faceoff is Comrie turning into a Timbits goalie before our eyes. And I did want to go there with mine today. The Eric Comrie experience was clearly the difference, though I guess Jason Woll got pulled in this one as well. But this is not the banner night that the Brick will be posting in their shops when Eric's career is done and gone.
Yeah, tonight everybody beat the Brick.
Colin Hall says, let's talk about this a little bit. The Jets recognize that they are in a Tampa Bay Rays type market, but approach team building as though they're the New York Yankees. And the real DFV says, if you're a Cheveldayoff, exactly what do you say in the midseason presser next week? What would you say? As Mike McIntyre let us know tonight that Chevy is expected to speak next week. What are you saying if you're Kevin Cheveldayoff to the public this time next week?
What am I saying if I'm Chevy, or what do I think Chevy's going to say? Because those are different things.
What would you say right now?
I would be apologizing like crazy. I would say, look, here's what I thought in the summer. I thought that this team was, a couple veteran pieces away from getting over. I felt like, we needed that Stanley Cup pedigree in the locker room to bring our core over. I bet on this group, but it hasn't worked out so far. I would be honest. I would say this is what I thought in the summer. This is the plan that I had, and it hasn't worked out so far. It's, and then I would kind of, again, because you don't know how things are going to progress going forward, but you need to have a bit of a plan for people, right? You have to have a little bit of hope to sell to the people going forward from here. We understand that we're a long way away from the playoffs right now, and we're never going to stop trying to win games, but we have to also think about the long-term future of the team. And, if the right deals are out there, we're going to be listening to everything. Like, he needs to come out with that type of shit to let people know that he's not, the meme of sitting out at the lake and just kind of smiling by the fire. That you have to, when there is an absolute, fire in terms of what's happening to your team, you can't be so nonchalant about it. You need to just kind of come out, be honest about what's happened so far and where you want to go going forward. Now, what do I think he's actually going to say? That the bets that they've made, while they haven't, translated onto the scoreboard, maybe there's been some really good things and they've done a lot of really good work and they've been playing their best hockey lately and the points are going to come, and they had a lot of injuries to start the year and the schedule's been really tough and condensed, but they're not out of it yet and they're going to keep pushing, and if we find the right deal to add, we're going to, because we believe in this group. I guarantee you that's what he's actually going to say.
It sounds like a lot of you in our chat are used to Kevin Cheveldayoff. Mike Friesen says he's going to talk about the schedule, Helly's injury, how he offered Ehlers a contract to be a Jet for life, and how he still believes in this team.
Yep.
Over on YouTube, Turd Ferguson said he's going to vomit a word salad of nothingness. At Palmer Lane is wishing that he would say, I am tendering my resignation. We need him to do the exact same thing as Pimo. I have taken this team as far as I can, and I must step aside for them to take another step forward.
Honestly,
if he wants to get cheesy,
all joking aside, that's really the right move. if you are somebody who, cares about, say you care so much about this organization and this team, and you've put everything into it, and you have tried your fucking best, you have put in all the work, and you've made the decisions, and you get to this point and you go, shit, this actually didn't work, I have not done a good job. You would think at a certain point you would have to be the one to say, look, I don't know what I'm doing here. This is not, I can't get us out of this. I need the help. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. And sometimes you've got to do it. And it just, he honestly should do the PMO thing. It's as crazy as that sounds.
Hey, as a fellow worker bee, though, if you see someone in ownership class that you could take advantage of into oblivion, aren't you going to do it too?
Sure, but hire yourself some new assistants then, or promote yourself, make yourself the fucking president of Hockey Ops and hire a GM. There are ways to still make yourself look good and collect your paycheck without continually running the team back into the dirt.
Over on YouTube, Infinity Comet is expecting the usual Chevy speak. Real DFB wants to cut Comrie, make him shower at the Y and find his own way back to Winnipeg.
Oh, poor guy.
He'll get a private jet sent out there from his family, don't worry.
That's right.
Mike Rowling expects to hear it's a process. Jordy Angus expects to hear how it will be somehow the fans' fault. Neil Dubeck says he'll ramble on for about 20 minutes and say approximately nothing, as usual.
Yep.
Bart says Chevy is going to biovate about how this team is way better than its results and just needs some tweaks. The core is elite, yada, yada.
That again, I do worry they're going to learn the wrong lesson from them being in games lately. It's going to be an interesting one.
Dave Shore says Chevy next week. Mark Chipman is the most visionary hockey mind on planet Earth. Also, Gus Nyquist is getting 24 minutes tomorrow night. Fuck you. I'm ready for it. It feels like they're doing it right now.
Justin L on Twitch. We need this ain't fantasy hockey comment from Chevy. That's always a good one.
If we got a second, this isn't fantasy hockey from Kevin Cheveldayoff. Honestly, the fact he got away with saying that once after he failed at the deadline a couple years back, and there wasn't more blowback for that kind of comment about your fans being excited about your team. Are you kidding me? If he said that today or next week, this show is going to need a censor warning. Because I will go off the absolute rails if I hear that bullshit again about a 30-second place hockey team.
It's ridiculous. It was ridiculous then. It'd be even more ridiculous now. Even if he doesn't say it, though, we know that's how he feels because he's already said it. And there's been no indication that he's had a change of mind on this type of stuff. So, honestly, you can rest easily knowing that he's absolutely thinking that right now.
Cranberry said, and this is what I think is the right call here. Cranberry says the fans need to hear some real talk, but we're not going to get it. We need to hear some kind of honest, internal, hey, we fucked up for once. Not that they've ever been accountable for that kind of shit.
Yep.
It's going to be interesting. And I'm very excited to talk about it with you all afterwards.
Dave Shore on YouTube, who I'm pretty sure is our caller, Diamond Dave, says the Jets would be better if they were owned by Sam Cates instead. He'd just move to Scottsdale and make Rick Tocchet the president of Hockey Ops. That's good.
While smuggling some government money down for a backyard rink in Arizona.
So good.
Neil DeBeck says, I know things are bleak right now, but hey, Taves is a Jet.
Okay, there you go. Honestly, they're making enough in the Taves jersey sales, I'm sure, that they're more than happy with this.
The Scoutlick says, I want to see what kind of stuff they're sending to season ticket holders these days. Well, I'm expecting my renewals at some point in the next few weeks, and I will definitely let you know about what the plan seems to be with the Winnipeg Jets if we get any kind of interaction, because I haven't heard much so far.
Luckily, they've had some pretty good attendance numbers for the last couple home games, so there's no shame email coming anytime soon, at least. So we got some reprieve there.
we got some time.
We've got time.
Tico Napoli says, just a thought. Do the Jets still own Vesalainen's rights as I see him lighting up the Spangler and the move Chevy may make LOL # hits the bong? Are we bringing over Christian Vesalainen back to North America to fix the Winnipeg Jets.
They, I don't think they own his rights anymore, so you'd have to make a free agent pitch at him. So I think it's okay. I think we'll be all right on leaving that one out.
Mooch does point out at least the season ticket holders have access to priority access to the playoff tickets.
Oh God, get those right away. Take my money.
I can't wait to commit to those in February when they're still pretending like it's a possibility.
Oh, that's gonna be great. Ooh.
Oh, John Chan brings out a classic. Says Chevy will say there is great opportunities for prospects to move up to the big club.
Oh my God.
I feel like we've heard that.
If he
every
mentions
fall.
that at any point, I'm flipping a table. I'm absolutely flipping a table because what a bold-faced lie. Just to like, oh my God. And he would too. He would say it. He loves to lie about prospects.
Actually, this is something I do think will come up next week. Choices TK says, does Arniel get the dreaded vote of confidence from Chevy soon?
Ooh, that would be nice. That's always the
could see
kiss
that
of
next
death.
week.
Yeah, I could see that.
If he's still around by next week. T. Wells from Financial Faceoff is Chevy. We're bringing back Taves. We always knew he wouldn't be good until year 2.
I'm telling you, it's going to be one of those things of like, he's really rounded into form now. You just give him a little bit of time, another 30 to 45 games, and he'll be fucking right there, ready to go.
I got to ask you, watching this all go down, do you think, if you're in Chipper's shoes, you have any regret for publicly 7 months ago that the GM of this hockey franchise was going to outlive you? Like, that comment right now at this point in time is insane.
Yeah. You need shame to have regrets. So, no, I don't think he's going to have any regrets at the moment.
Man, I don't know. Like, at some point, I might just make it a daily mission to troll him at this point with those comments, because are you kidding me?
He's not kidding. He's not kidding. He doesn't regret them. He means them. He would say them again right now to everybody, and he probably will. It's kind of ridiculous how it's viewed in terms of that management structure. There's nothing Chevy can do outside of quitting himself like Maurice did to remove him from that job.
And Colin Hall says, that comment makes you look beyond stupid. Watching your franchise burn without doing anything makes you look stupid.
And Nero fiddled while Rome burned.
Hey, at some point here, loyalty is not just some sexy core value. It makes you stupid. If you watch your business burn and your fan base burn because of your core value of being internally loyal to everybody you know, you're stupid. I got to be honest here. You're putting way too much on the line over some gig. You gave a guy 15 years. GMs in this sport get, 5, 6 max?
That's even a lot.
There's been very rare.
That feels like a lot.
You've shown you're loyal. Guess what? It's time to be loyal to the next guy.
Yeah.
15 years.
Again, we talked about it
Core
in a different
value
show.
is loyalty and trust.
We talked about it in a different show, but like, why doesn't loyalty extend out to your fans, to the people who come in and put the money on the table for your team? Why is it only to the one guy who works below you who is not doing that great of a job? It's baffling that things like loyalty and experience only apply outside of that management structure, and that's the standard for everyone else, but not for them.
Because, Mikey, the good people of Winnipeg are supposed to just bend over and shake their ass for whatever the Winnipeg Jets do. That is what the good people of Winnipeg are supposed to do. That is what the trust is supposed to be. It's fucking insane. Like, these are things that I could totally see this team doing. Dave Shore says Jimmy Roy is coaching this team next week. I'm calling it.
Don't do that.
Could see it. Al Camino said, who's the next guy? Zinger?
Yeah. God, there's somebody else who needs to go.
Scarborough says, absolutely do not start fire Chevy Chance. We need this tank to continue. Guess what? The beautiful thing about where the Winnipeg Jets find themselves today, I don't care what anybody says, there is no way out this year. There is no way. They could hire a new coach. They could hire a new GM. They could make a bold blockbuster. Their fate is sealed. The Winnipeg Jets are fucked. It is done this year. Everything should be looking at next year and how we get out of this, because this is a problem.
Yeah, they're the
a
worst.
big problem.
They're the worst team in the National Hockey League by points percentage, by the eye test, by anything. Like you watch them. That's just who they are. So, yeah, firing Chevy mid-season and saying that you're going to do a full search and you're going to bring in an outside voice, somebody who's going to really change the futures of the team. That would still change nothing about how they're going to perform this year. So the tank is on whether it's Chevy there or not, which is nice.
Yeah, Neil Dubeck reminds us, John Shannon says we've been spoiled.
Look, sometimes
Spoiled fan base.
sometimes Grandpa says things, and you just kind of have to put him back in his chair and tell him okay.
Cranberry says loyalty is making this org so Mickey Mouse. Yeah, it is what it is. Let's get into the 3 stars. We talked for 2 hours last night. We talked for nearly an hour tonight. Let's get into the 3 stars and get out of here on New Year's Day here.
Let's hit it. Right on.
Mikey, who are your 3 stars on this day? And I gotta point out, we were talking about Bruce Boudreau being 70 the other day.
Yep.
Mike Friesen points out Randy Carlyle hasn't turned 70 quite yet.
Dun dun dun. Bringing him home. Bringing him home. Oh yeah, that is the next move. If they do the sacrificial lamb on Arnie, that's definitely the next move. It's gonna be Randy.
Hey, you bring in Randy for 40 games, and the core is asking out, and we're getting a rebuild. I'm in.
Let's go.
He'll make that room cry nightly.
Oh God, can you imagine?
Who's your 3 stars on this night, Mikey?
So honestly, the biggest tragedy for tonight was that the Maple Leafs ended up ruining what felt like Italian Heritage Night for the Winnipeg Jets. Because for my 3 stars, I've got Alex Iafallo at number 3, just for that goal. Finally, somebody getting the on the end of one of those passes from Taves down low. He's been trying to get somebody to hit one of those for a while. So Iafallo there. Gabe Velarde, number 2. Again, nice start to the game, working off of him and Scheifele there with both the goal and the assist. And number 1, I'll give it to 55. He had a rough day yesterday. He saw red today when it came facing the Leafs. So I'll give it to Scheifele in a losing effort.
And while I go through mine, we forgot yesterday. Colin Hall reminds us, Tankathon Sim tonight, where we're rolling from the number 1 spot for the foreseeable future here. Let's get excited. I might have spun it 10 times this morning. In the first 5, we won number 1. Talk about a way to spend your first morning of 2026. But honorable mention, Mark Scheifele, best player on the ice for the Winnipeg Jets, made this an entertaining hockey game. Mark Scheifele deserves an honorable mention on this night, but my 3 stars are going a different direction. My 3rd star on this night is Scotty Arniel. Does not give Comrie the hook, so he stays in, and the tank keeps rolling. The number 2 star on this night is Kevin Shoveldayoff, because on January 1st, 2026, we're about to run a Tankathon Sim where we get the number 1 spot because of how dysfunctional he made this hockey team. And number 1 on this night, Tank Commander, everybody beats the brick. Eric Comrie pulled up clutch for the Winnipeg Jets and its future. Let's roll that Tankathon Sim on the way out.
3.
Where are we drafting tonight?
Let's do it. 3, 2, 1. Ah, we dropped 2 spots.
Number 3.
We're drafting at number 3.
Mike Friesen points out we should have given the Chicago Blackhawks a star for getting 2 points versus the Stars.
Yeah, no doubt.
Oh, big climbs for Boston and the Rangers. We don't want that. At least it was out east.
Yeah, that's true.
Look at us. Even when we lose, we win. A top 3 pick. What a fantastic job. Keep it going, Chipper. This is where you want this org to go, buddy.
We've got
Don't
a
wake
chance.
up from that coma.
We've got a
Don't
chance.
bother.
Don't stop thinking about tomorrow.
And Colin Hall points out, bring on Smits. We might be smitten for Smits from Latvia on defense at this point.
Excellent.
All right, folks. Thank you for being here. After the Winnipeg Jets, find another disastrous, comedic, hilarious, embarrassing, should be franchise-altering watershed moment for any organization in pro sports that's serious about themselves. But we know the ownership in Winnipeg is not. So all things will carry into the weekend with nothing changing. It was a pleasure to take this one in and continue rolling this tank through this team on a very special evening. We will always remember the night that they blew a 4-1 game to the Toronto Maple Leafs to stay in the pole position of Gavin McKenna. You have yourselves a great night. We'll see you next game.
Right on. Good night, everybody.